to my channel. So today I'm going to go through all of the eyeshadow palettes that I went through in the month of September. We are now officially in October. Are we ready? Do you have your pumpkin spice lattes? I certainly do not, because nowhere around here has them. If you know anywhere that has them, let me know. But yeah, I've been really enjoying like the fall, like getting into it. But I'll tell you what, it's brilliant sunshine outside and it's very, very sunny and very hot. So it doesn't quite feel like fall yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there because the nights are getting colder. I actually have a lot of eyeshadow palettes here to talk through, quite a bit more than I really anticipated to talk through. I'm going to rank it from least favorite to favorite of the month. It's not that it's like my least favorite palette of my entire collection if they're at the bottom, because honestly, I like all of these palettes. I don't think there's any palette here that I would say is really bad and that you should not have it, or if you own it, you should get rid of it. I think these are all beautiful quality, and it's just to do with more of the color story or what I was feeling in the month of September for each of these palettes. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. So anyway, yeah, there's quite a lot here. We'll start with this one. This is my Pan That palette in order. I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but it is because of the shades that I'm currently working on in this palette. It is the Earthly by Beauty Bay, and I love this palette. Like, don't get me wrong, any other time I would probably rank this higher because I really enjoy Beauty Bay formula as well. It's one of my favorites. However, I've been working on this and it's just like a bummer because I'm working on shades that I don't really enjoy. So I'm finally on this one over here, and I think it'll be a different story come October if I get more use out of this. This is really not going to be one, like, I'm going to have to force myself to use this in October because I don't usually wear a lot of green eyeshadow in October. It just doesn't seem to be the right vibe for me. But obviously it's my Pan That palette in order and I want to just carry this on. It's not going to end in December. I'm just going to like push it through to it next year because why not? It's a big hefty palette and I want to get use out of it. Also, Beauty Bay formula tends to not survive in my in my house for whatever reason. Whatever they do with the formula, as beautiful as it is, it just gets moldy. And I have other older eyeshadow that does not get moldy. There's certain brands that just don't survive in my house. And I have to realize that. So yeah, that's another reason why I kind of want to get more use out of this. But I'm ranking at the bottom because it's just two shades that I went into this last month. Nothing really exciting, nothing interesting. Maybe I'll go into more shades and then I'll have a more feeling about it. Okay, next up, similarly, I don't hate this palette. You know I love this palette, but it was my Project Level Up for 3 or 4 months and I just got really, really tired of it. So this month I was working on all the shades that I did not end up using enough times, which are all like these purples down here, which I have officially done now. So I will not be touching this in October. I will not. I feel like I've given it a lot of love in the last few months. And as much as I do love this formula from Sample Beauty, I am sick of it. I'm sick of it. So that's why, again, I'm ranking it low. So as I said at the beginning, it's not that I don't love these palettes. I do. I'm just getting a little tired of some of them and I don't want to have to rank them every single month. So, you know, this one finally, I won't be ranking next month. Moving on, this one I do enjoy. This is the P. Louise Blend Away. However, it is so massive. I pulled it from my Shop My Stash. It's still currently in my Shop My Stash. I've gone into a few shades. Normally with this ranking, I want to go into at least 2 shades from the palette in order to rank it properly. But there's no way I've gone into enough shades to properly rank this palette. It's just going to take so long for me to really get to know it. But all of the shades that I have gone into, mattes or shimmers, have been really lovely formulas. So I actually really do enjoy the formula of this. I just find that it's so huge. So I have to rank it low because I don't have a strong opinion about it other than, yeah, it's pretty, but you know, do I love this palette as opposed to all the other palettes in my collection? No, I do not. And then I'm going to put my Pan That palette here, the Stone Vibes of the Urban Decay. It's my Pan That palette because it's one of my favorite palettes of my collection, but because it is my Pan That palette for this year, I'm getting so bored and tired of it, and I keep spoiling what it looks like for my update that's going to come up in the next week or so. But yeah, this one, I actually have enjoyed it a little bit more the last few days because I've just been going into it naturally. But for the most part, I have been feeling the last couple months a little bit tired of this palette. as you would expect, you know, I've been working on it for 9 months straight now. So, you know, I like variety in my makeup. I don't like to have the same makeup every single day. That's just, I find that a little bit boring. It's just not the way that I use my makeup, and it's how I can filter through all of my eyeshadow and my makeup by doing the Shop My Stashes, the project pans, the other projects that I'm doing. But the Pan That palette is the one that I find really difficult because you have to use that palette quite a lot to get any sort of progress on the project. So I'm ranking it here. So kind of these are like in the bottom. So, but they're all in the bottom for like similar reasons where I don't really have a strong opinion. I like the formula. Some of them I really love in my collection, but I'm just like tired of them, okay? All right, now that we've gone through those, I have all the rest of these, which I feel like are ranked pretty decently. I love all of these palettes. So even the ones at the bottom, I can appreciate the color story, the formula. Well, actually, maybe not color story on all of them, but I think the formula is beautiful on all of these. So it was a little bit tricky to rank it, but I'm just ranking it as I feel today. So the first one here is the Avatar Air. If you have been watching me for a little bit, I have mentioned that I really do find this color story to be a little bit tricky. There's just something about it that doesn't vibe with me. Also, all of the shimmers in this palette all flip very icy, which is absolutely fine. I actually did a really beautiful look, and I've been going into this one a lot because it's in my Pan Nose eyeshadows. So I have been going into this quite a lot. However, I think as a color story and as a palette, I would not repurchase this knowing what it is like to play with. However, the formula is absolutely stunning. Love it, love it. And apparently this is one of Lethal's best formulas, the Avatar collection. So I'm really glad that I have chosen to try Lethal when they have their best formula out, because that is very good for my bank account. Okay, next up is this one, the Gourmand Girls Peach Perfect palette. Now, I really enjoy this palette, but I have to be honest with you, I'm not as in love with it as I thought that I would be. I did use it in a Get Ready With Me, and I thought all of the shades are really beautiful. And I think what I'm finding with this one is I wish I had this in the spring. Moving into spring and then also summertime, because I feel like that's when I really go into my peachy tones. And I love peach, but it's just not a color that I generally use this time of the year. So it is a little bit more of a seasonal thing where I have the palette now. I think it's really beautiful, but I don't think I'm gonna wanna use this for a while, which kind of upsets me because obviously I paid money for this palette. And I don't want to neglect new makeup that comes into my collection, but I also have to be realistic. Like, I do like to wear certain makeup during the seasons, and I think a lot of us are like that. And this, to me, is just more of a spring-summer palette. So sadly, it's just come to me right at the end of the season. Even though it is sunny here, I'm very much, you know, my makeup is changing and I'm not outside in the sun all the time. I'm ready for autumn, fall. I really am, and so that's why I'm getting more into my pinks, because that's generally what I like to wear nowadays. And this one, I mean, I could potentially go into this for maybe Halloween vibes, but I don't think I will. So I think this is really lovely. Oops, I caught my hair. This is really lovely, and I would definitely recommend Gourmand Girls just based off of this palette in terms of formula wise. But I think color story wise, it just missed me a little bit because of when I received it, which is fine. You know, I bought it when I bought it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm ranking it. I don't not like it. It's just not a favorite of mine at this time. Okay, next up we've got the Let's Get Nude from Gloss Gods. So when I first got this one, I was really disappointed in the quality. I didn't think the mattes were all that great, but I actually have gone into it because I did pull it from my Shop My Stash. And I have been playing around with a couple of the shades, and I did use this palette for just one look. I didn't go into any other shades just a couple of days ago, and I really enjoyed my look. And I can't deny that the palette itself is really beautiful. What I am finding is I think it's a little mid-tone, and I would love to have a slightly brighter shimmer in here. I know you have this one, but this one does have a flip to it. I don't know if you can even notice, but it's like purpley peachy tone. I don't know if you'll be able to see there. And it would be nice if maybe this one of these two, because I don't think you need both of them, even though they're a little bit different. This is more mauvey and this is more taupe. This one is really beautiful, but I just wish that it was a little bit lighter. And I think then I would probably enjoy the palette as a whole a little bit more. But in terms of color-wise and like formula-wise, I mean, it's beautiful. You know me and gloss gods. I love it. Okay, moving on, I've got the Club Nebula from Kaleidos. So this is an oldie, but obviously still a goodie. And another one that I pulled for my Shop My Stash. So any palettes I pull for my Shop My Stash, I don't have to use them, but I do it purposely to try and use them. So I did go into this palette, I think, when I originally did my Shop My Stash Get Ready With Me video, but then I also went into it a few days ago for a couple of shades, especially this one, and I think one other one, but I can't remember what the other one was, just to enhance a look that I was already doing. I do love this palette. I find it a very easy everyday palette to wear for me? No, but that's always been the case. I've always felt like the color story was very dark and deep, but you do have these gorgeous shimmers and the quality is still absolutely stunning. I have no issues with this. And this is what still, at this point now, this is like one of the oldest palettes that I still have in my collection. And I haven't had to let it go because the formula is fine. It's not getting moldy or anything. Like, I've had absolutely no issues with this palette, which is just such a joy. So I don't know what that means, but it's beautiful. And I really wish that they would come out with more palettes like this. It's been a really long time since they've come out with any eyeshadow that I have been interested in. Really, this is the only one that I've tried, and obviously they came out with all their quads a couple of years ago. But I don't know what's going on with Kaleidos. I feel like, we're all kind of waiting, and I don't know, maybe they're just struggling or it's just not gonna happen. It's a shame. All right, next up, I have the Avocado Toast. So again, this is another one that I pulled from my Shop My Stash. This is BH Cosmetics, and it was such a joy to go into this one because I haven't gone into it in a while, and I was using quite a bit of green this month, so that tied in nicely. And then I also went into this shade a couple of times, which is a beautiful inner corner shade, the Avocado. And it was just nice to reacquaint myself with BH formula because it's beautiful and we all miss it. And the formula in this one is beautiful, so I just want to play around with it a little bit more, and I have been, so that has been fun. Then I have one from GlamShop. I have this one. So I have one of the shades in here for my Pan Those eyeshadows, but I did actually go into a couple of other shades this month, so I'm able to rank it. Specifically this one. This one I actually have on my lids as well. I have these two on my lids today. But I think I also went into one of these other shimmers another time. It's very, very stunning, really beautiful palette. This is another case where all of the shimmers in here flip icy, which is fine, but I find they all flip very purpley icy or silvery icy. And so this is a great, more of a summer palette for me. It's not really a warm palette, even though you have slightly warmer mattes. Because the shimmers are very icy toned, I feel like it's more of a winter palette, which is fine. But yeah, I'm ranking it here. I love the formula. I'm trying to hit pan in this one. It's not gonna happen. These are super thick. These are thick. I don't know how thick they are, but I thought I was gonna hit pan in it today and I did not. So I don't know how far away I am. I might be very close or I might still be pretty far away. Okay, next up we have another Gloss Gods, the What's Your Power? So this is currently my Project Level Up, level 5. So I really have been enjoying this. I'm not ranking it higher just because I think the color story is a little bit difficult for me at the moment to pull this off. So at the time when I rolled it in, and I've already mentioned this, I was super pumped. And now I'm a little bit scared for my life. But because I'm getting more into my pinks, I think I'm gonna get quite a lot of use out of those two, and maybe these two over here because I can incorporate them with the pink. But it's really the greens and the blues that are worrying me a little bit because I have to hit pan in 4 more shades, and it's not easy. It's not easy. This one was pretty easy. I already had some use on it, and it just seemed like a thicker, flakier shimmer as opposed to these other ones. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one I'm gonna do, but I really enjoyed the formula as always. The colors are really stunning, but the color story is a little tricky. Okay, moving on, we have the Shadow Kiss from Ultra Eco. This one I wasn't going to rank at all, but I did go into it, so I'm ranking it. I ended up using this shade and this shade, so not really a lot to tell on this palette. I love this palette. I wish I could use this all the time. If I had to narrow my palettes down to maybe only 5 or 10 palettes in my collection, this one would absolutely stay because it is a palette that I can wear every single day. Like if I had to wear the same makeup every single day because because it was a requirement for my job or whatnot, I would go into this far more often. But because I do have the option of playing with my makeup every single day, it doesn't really matter what I look like. I can be a little bit more creative and fun, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this is my favorite Alter Ego palette and I love it. And it's the one I've used the least, which is so annoying to me, but it's just because I'm distracted by all the pretty colors, but it's so beautiful. This one, any time I go into this palette and any look I create with it, it is so beautiful. So I really enjoy it, but yeah, I only went into 2 shades, but I'm still ranking it super high because I like going into it. All right, then the rest of these are all new palettes. So you might know what I'm going to talk about next, but I do have the whole Avatar collection. So I'm going to put the blue one here. This is the water one. I did a 4 looks, 4 palettes video with all these if you missed it, but this is stunning, absolutely beautiful. And I'm only ranking it here just simply because I like the next 3 a little bit better, but there's nothing wrong with this. It's so gorgeous. This middle tone is absolutely stunning. You have a little brown, so you've got the brown and blue little combo if you want to do that. You've got the white, and I don't know, it's just a beautiful curated palette if you like blue eyeshadow. I just think absolutely beautiful. Next up, I've got the earth one. So this is the green one, obviously from the same collection. And I was going to put this a second, but I feel like I'm going to leave this in 3rd place. I really, really enjoyed this palette. I think it's absolutely stunning. And it was really exciting for me to go into this because I could see all these other different color stories that I could use with it. I did quite a green murky look, but I didn't really play too much into these browns. I could do a really dark look, and I didn't go into this one at all. So I just feel like there's a lot of different color stories in here that I could play with just 9 shades, which is pretty fun. And I like when palettes do that, and the formula is beautiful and the shades look stunning. So anyway, got to put it there. Next up, I am going to put my Ainsley Rain Flower Moon here. I feel like it's been a really long time since I went in and played with this, but I did do 3 looks with this. I do have a video, and the reason I'm ranking it just a step above this one is because you get obviously more variety because there are more than 9 pans, right? So there's a lot of different colors or a different type of looks that you can go in. I just thought the formula of this is really beautiful. I didn't spot any issues at all. And the mattes were stunning. The shimmers are obviously beautiful. So every time everyone's raved about Ainsley Rain and told me I would enjoy it, they were all correct. And I'm not running out the door to buy any more because they're very expensive, and I have acquired quite a lot of new palettes quite fast recently. So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to bide my time. I don't think that they have any currently out that if they suddenly discontinued them, I would be heartbroken. So I'm okay if that happens because I know new ones will come in and I know what the formula is like. But I think now that I know what it's like, I'm just going to wait for one to come out that just speaks to me. And I'm just like, I can't say no to this one because it's too beautiful. I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to try. So I wanted to try the formula. It was the first one I tried. Really stunning and beautiful. Really, really enjoyed it. Okay, and then this one really surprised me, but I'm going to put this one at the top. I was just blown away by these shades when I did my 4 looks, 4 palettes, lethal. So get ready with me video. This is the Fire palette, and first impressions, when you look at this, for me personally, it wasn't the ones that I was the most excited about. The Earth one was the most exciting to me, and also the blue one as well. But this one and the Air one were the least exciting. However, and it might just be because it's this time of year, but I think this is just beautiful. I think this speaks to me at the moment. I can do some really gorgeous looks. You don't have to go into the reds. And yes, it is warm tone. So normally I stay away from warm tone, especially during winter time, but we're not exactly in winter yet. So I don't know, I really, really enjoyed this. I found it so much fun to play with, and I think I used every single shade. I think I used every shade, or maybe not. Yeah, no, I think this is the one where I used every shade, and there was nothing wrong with any of them. So I really, really enjoyed this one. I thought it was beautiful. Quality, quality and formula on all of these are stunning, but this, I just loved it. I loved it so much. So that is my favorite palette that I have tried this month for sure. And this was exciting ranking because obviously I had a bunch of new palettes and it was kind of tricky at first to put them, but I do think the lethal ones deserve to be at the top just because I was heavily impressed by the formula and the quality. And it might just be because I've heard such negative things about it that I'm bigging them up. But anyway, we'll see. It doesn't matter. I still have to play around with all these palettes a lot more to get more acquainted with them. And then you see all of the ones that I really knew very well, aside from the P. Louise one, are right at the bottom because I know them really well. I'm just a little bit sick of them. Anyway, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!